This visual shows a rather counterintuitive scenario. Two people investing in the same market over the exact same 30-year period. One earns $150,000 a year, while the other earns $80,000. But by the end of those 3 decades, the person who earned roughly half as much retires with nearly double the overall wealth. If you ask most people how to build that kind of financial independence, they usually point to a very specific set of spreadsheet items. They talk about picking the right ETF, trying to time the housing market, or hunting down the highest possible percentage returns. Long-running data from institutions like Vanguard and the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances proves that conventional wisdom wrong. It turns out that your success early on has practically nothing to do with timing the market or picking a magic stock. To understand how wealth is actually generated, we have to look past the investment portfolio and examine the specific mechanical variables of our everyday lives. This chart plots the growth curve of a starting portfolio over the first 10 to 15 years of investing. As you can see, the trajectory is driven almost entirely by the savings rate, rather than the percentage of investment returns. When a portfolio is small, the market simply doesn't have enough capital to work with. A generous 10% return on a $20,000 account is $2,000 a year. That helps, but simply saving an extra $500 a month injects $6,000 of fresh capital into that same account over the course of a year. It's 3 times the impact, and it is entirely within your control. Your earning ability acts as the primary financial asset for the majority of a working life. This career capital often carries more weight than a house or a 401k because it represents the raw capacity to generate new wealth. That capital grows through specific, tangible actions. You build it when you continuously develop specialized skills, when you establish a reliable reputation, when you expand your professional network, and when you learn how to actively negotiate your value. Take 2 people starting at $50,000 a year. One stagnates after reaching $80,000, while the other steadily increases their value and negotiates a mere 3% annual growth. Over a 35-year career, that continuous growth creates a lifetime earnings gap of hundreds of thousands, sometimes even $1 million. Maximizing your savings rate and actively growing your earning power provides the raw fuel you need. Together, they create enough momentum to outpace the financial drag of normal adult life. But that momentum is constantly working against a force I call financial gravity. These recurring, fixed-cost lifestyle obligations add weight to your baseline. Once those obligations get heavy enough, they pull on every subsequent financial choice you make. A $70,000 luxury car lease seems perfectly normal when a dealership presents an affordable monthly payment, but a $1,200 monthly commitment over 6 years silently destroys roughly $90,000 of future after-tax wealth. When you stack a massive mortgage, private school tuition, and multiple car payments on top of each other, your options shrink down to nothing. You lose the freedom to take a lower-paying job you actually love. You can't afford the risk of starting a business, and a single unexpected emergency quickly spirals into a panic. There is a second, surprisingly potent force of financial gravity that rarely makes it onto a spreadsheet: who you choose to marry. A legal partnership integrates 2 separate spending styles, risk tolerances, and debt levels into a single trajectory. When those behave, the consequences are severe. Statistically, going through a divorce obliterates over 70%. If you ignore financial gravity, you end up trapped in a life where your decisions are entirely dictated by whatever is left over in your budget at the end of the month, completely erasing your future optionality. The people who successfully navigate this and build wealth do not possess superhuman willpower. They simply build systems that automatically default to the correct financial choice. Behavioral economists have proven this time and time again. The single biggest predictor of whether someone contributes to a 401k isn't financial literacy, it's how the company structures the enrollment. When companies switch their plans from an opt-in model to an automatic opt-out model, employee participation jumps from around 50% to over 90%. That exact same principle applies to your personal life. You set up automatic transfers to savings the very day your paycheck hits. You schedule automatic buys into index funds, and you put your base living expenses on automated bill pay. You live below your means by default. Relying on motivation is a dangerous game because human willpower is fragile. When life gets stressful, when you are exhausted from work, or when you face an unexpected crisis, motivation is the first thing to vanish. But a system doesn't get tired. Automation acts as an unyielding operating system, guaranteeing that your wealth continues compounding in the background, even on the days you completely stop paying attention. When we look at these core inputs, we see that the savings rate provides the necessary fuel, the marriage determines the efficiency of the partnership, fixed costs dictate your long-term flexibility, and automation ensures the entire process remains active. Notice what is entirely missing from that list. None of those massive life trajectories require you to pick a winning stock ticker, hire an elite wealth advisor, or possess complex financial literacy. These aren't single, clever transactions that you execute once on a spreadsheet. They are continuous habits. The partner you choose in your 30s, the oversized house you avoid in your 40s, the skills you sharpen in your 50s that shape your behavior over decades. True financial freedom is rarely found by obsessing over a portfolio. If you get the mechanical habits of your life directionally right, the math of your wealth will automatically take care of itself.